Power Book for Episode 3 of Season 3 goes into great detail about how much each person has to lose, including family, products, and even portions of themselves. The episode's sole flaw is D-Mac's ongoing pranks, but based on the hour's suspenseful conclusion, those are getting worse. If not, this narrative is merely building to push Tommy over the brink in the future. There's Always a Price to Pay is also a really good episode for Vic Flynn. Vic is literally in bed with the party rep's assistant not once, but twice to get information for Tommy, and he succeeds in learning about Stace's troubles. Vic suggests that Tommy become the biggest donor to Stace's mayoral campaign, which is actually a pretty shrewd move. But mostly, it's interesting to see Vic in several different lights. He's scheming with Tommy, yet he also gets some moments of pseudo-happiness in these hookups, which he frankly deserves, and when he finds Claudia's girlfriend in his apartment his rage seems to be about a lot more than her. The last 5 minutes of this episode were worth sitting through the lackluster hour. There were gasps and laughs in my household watching a snake be revealed, Diamond and Jenard be gobsmacked, and Tommy finally seeing that he's more out of the loop than he ever realized. It was the perfect ending, a 10 out of 10. Tommy wants to take over Chicago and control the whole city in a way he could never quite master in New York, and he's so damn close that he's not seeing anything else beyond the finish line. Getting to that finish line will require a lot of moving parts working in tandem, perhaps none bigger than the coalition, and his antics so far this season have done nothing to shore up those alliances. Instead, they've caused even more division amongst gangs who aren't at all interested in getting into the middle of a cartel war. Nobody wants to turn up like Chavo, and for that reason alone, gangs were dropping out of the coalition, which doesn't help Tommy at all. He and Diamond even admitted they need bodies. That secret is just too big to stay hidden forever. Unless Diamond tries to cover his own behind and admits to Tommy and D-Mac what King Kilo wants, but leaves out the part where he was entirely on board with D-Mac dying. But we have to wait for that reveal either way, and instead see how Diamond and Jenard try to explain to Tommy why they're welcoming D-Mac back into CBI with open arms, and everyone failed to mention it to him. This was a cliffhanger that didn't involve someone close to death or some grand proclamation, but it was perfect in its own way. Tommy needed a wake-up call about the things that have been going on around him, and I'm more than ready to start seeing Diamond have to pick a side in things and fully commit to Tommy or let himself be manipulated by his little brother. And where does D-Mac fit into everything now? All I know is that it's going to be pure cinema watching these four men lie to one another, and I can't wait. When Miguel was introduced, they kept hyping up how scary he was, and I didn't see it until I saw him with that pig. Tommy going to the Serbs sounded stupid on paper, and no part of me thinks teaming with them will work out in the long run because they're opportunistic, just like all the other gangs. But it worked here because of their shared hatred for Ortega. Leave it to Tommy to take a match to things even further by killing the man's uncle. Surely that will go over well and have no lasting fallout for him or anyone else he's associated with. Tommy going to the Serbs sounded stupid on paper, and no part of me thinks teaming with them will work out in the long run because they're opportunistic, just like all the other gangs. But it worked here because of their shared hatred for Ortega. Leave it to Tommy to take a match to things even further by killing the man's uncle. Surely that will go over well and have no lasting fallout for him or anyone else he's associated with. Mireya avoided her brother's lifestyle her whole damn life, but now she's right in the middle of it, acting incredibly naive. For Season 3 Episode 3 was one of the hours where I started to wonder if everyone is in a competition this season to see who can make the stupider decision. It's just stupid decision after stupid decision so far this season, and while it's entertaining, some of the things these people are doing doesn't quite make sense to me. But hey, sometimes you have to throw spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks, or something like that. Tommy's always been a wild card. He could be the most intelligent guy in the room, but we've seen his emotions lead him into some dangerous situations on numerous occasions. And that's to say nothing of the fact that his narcissism often hinders him from seeing outside of his limited scope. Tommy wants to take over Chicago and control the whole city in a way he could never quite master in New York, and he's so damn close that he's not seeing anything else beyond the finish line. Getting to that finish line will require a lot of moving parts working in tandem, perhaps none bigger than the coalition, and his antics so far this season have done nothing to shore up those alliances. Instead, they've caused even more division amongst gangs who aren't at all interested in getting into the middle of a cartel war. Nobody wants to turn up like Chavo, and for that reason alone, gangs were dropping out of the coalition, which doesn't help Tommy at all. He and Diamond even admitted they need bodies. Still, instead of doing right by that coalition and strengthening it, Tommy has continued to come after Ortega and push his own agenda at every turn, which is great for him but not so great for everyone else. I can understand that Tommy wants revenge, and Ortega has tried to kill him more than once at this point, so he's entitled to get his lick back. But again, that's Tommy not thinking outside of himself. He can get to the top of the food chain. I wholeheartedly believe that. But he won't get there alone. He'll need CBI, and others at the end of the day, and these moves he's making aren't exactly endearing him to anyone. Though the name of the game right now seems to be the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so what do I know? Seat at the table. Power Book for Force is not skimping on the action in its final season. Tommy walking into a coalition meeting holding up a severed head is probably a top 10 Tommy Egan moment, and Joseph Sikora sells the daylights out of the accompanying monologue to back up the visual emphatically. This episode states, out loud and repeatedly, how many people believe Tommy is a liability. This isn't unexpected. Even in Season 3, the stage has to be set for Tommy to have one last epic battle, and that means people have to turn against him. The threats don't stop. But after setting the stage and re-establishing all the rivalries in the Season 3 premiere, Episode 2 is wise to similarly remind viewers that Power Book for Force has more going for it than the drug dealing. From Tommy and Mireya, to Stacy and Bobby, to even Vic reuniting with Beth, there are emotional stakes as well and relationships that audience members can invest in. He's not willing to put his pride aside to see the merits of working with someone like Tommy earnestly. Plus, he has Shanti in his ear every 5 seconds telling him that they need to run the world, and she's pretty damn persuasive. Shanti's such an intriguing character because she's respected in the streets, but it's very clear she's stuck where she is because she's a woman. She's brilliant, manipulative, and clever, and I will keep saying it until the very last episode. Shanti, Jenard, Tommy, and Diamond teaming up would be everything. The 4 of them could easily run Chicago, but the egos and the inability to think beyond themselves would never allow it. I was skeptical about Jenard and Shanti and just what their relationship was, because it's as much business as anything else. Yes, they care about one another, but they're also heavily involved in a business relationship as much as, if not more than, a personal one. But Power Book for Force Season 3 is taking great pains to show us the softer side of their relationship, and I appreciate that because it allows us to see a different side of them and what they desire.
Into the season, and Tommy's battles have fleshed out the character in ways that Power never could. In the original series, though Tommy and Ghost were partners and even operated independently at times, they were always inexorably connected. Power Book 4, Force has made Tommy clearly number one, with all the positives and negatives that entails. The subtle psychological shift of being professionally beholden to no one else has given him an extra edge. There's also no one to check him and he faces the full consequences of his mistakes. One aspect of Power Book 4, Force that's particularly intriguing is its exploration of Tommy's newfound family, his half-brother J.P. Gibbs, Anthony Fleming III, and nephew D-Mac, Lucien Cambric. Though D-Mac being JP's son isn't public knowledge yet, it's bound to come out eventually, and JP has already told Tommy that he's in a financial bind. Ghost's family was completely caught up in the game, even his true love Angela was a US attorney. JP is trying to stay on the straight and narrow as is Gloria, and D-Mac's not totally in yet. Tommy can have a side of his life that has nothing to do with drugs, giving himself a balance and saving himself from making the mistakes Ghost made by being unable to keep things separated.
Starz has released a new trailer for Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4 Part 2 alongside some first-look photos that tease a final showdown. The newly released trailer sets the stakes high for emotional final episodes, emphasizing that no one is safe. Part 2 of the final season will premiere on Starz at 8 p.m. in the US on Friday, September 6. Episodes will be available to stream on the Stars app from midnight. In the first half of Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4, unanswered high-stakes questions were uncovered and Tarek learned he is the father of Diana's baby. Part 2 will showcase the adage, like father, like son. Tarek finds himself in an eerily similar situation, just like his late father, Ghost, stuck between a rock and a hard place, with the choice to leave the game or take over, reads the official synopsis for Part 2. Entrapped by Detective Carter, the Tejada family realizes their safety is not guaranteed. Monet fiercely fights for her family to become whole again, but is it too late? Noma is working her way to the top of the food chain. Meanwhile, her daughter, Anya, gets too close to the game, forcing Noma to think twice about her actions.
Dark clouds forming in the heavens over me, but I say hallelujah anyway.
As they held their guns up towards each other, Monet told Tarek that she knew they both had a lot of reasons to want to take each other out, but she had a better idea. She proposed that if he give her kids a pass, she'll give him one too. Monet explained that all she cared about at the moment was making sure her family was safe, especially her grandbaby. Tarek, who is obviously still shell-shocked by the news, lowers his gun before leaving the house. That episode ends with Tarek pulling up to the party/concert Braden put together for No Lie. When they finally catch up, Braden breaks down all the logistics of how their business will run and Tarek is very impressed. When Braden is done, he asks Tarek how things went with the Tejadas. Tarek tells him that he might not drink before he gets into it and also says that needed to hit the blunt Braden was hitting at the moment. As the two sit at the bar, Tarek spots Anya. He walks up and offers to pay for her drinks as he introduces himself. She tells him that she can pay for her own drinks. Tarek responds by saying he could see that but she shouldn't have to. She loved the line and introduced herself. The episode ends with Tarek telling Anya that it's nice to meet her. That boy cold. Power Book 2, Ghost continues to dominate television screens as it approaches its mid-season finale in its final 10-episode run. This spin-off from the original Power series, which concluded in 2020, has garnered significant attention, with Season 4 attracting 6.5 million multi-platform viewers during its debut week on Stars. Michael Rainey Jr. portrays Tarek St. Patrick, the son of James St. Patrick, known as Ghost, a former drug lord and businessman. Tarek, who killed his father in the original series, now navigates a dual life as an Ivy League college student and a drug dealer. Season after season, viewers witness Tarek's attempts to earn his inheritance through education, only to be drawn deeper into a life of crime. He embodies the legacy of Ghost, version 2.0, as per the report by Radio Times. Adding to the complexity, Detective Don Carter, Michael Ealy, enters the fray, determined to bring down Tarek and his associates, including federal agent Angel Young, with ties to Paz and Angela Valdez. The impending threat forces Tarek and his loved ones into precarious situations, testing their resilience and alliances. The Stars app offers streaming for every Power franchise installment, including Power Book 2, Ghost. Fans excitedly await the dramatic finale of this spin-off, which functions as a sequel and a standalone story in the Power universe, as the series gets more intense with each new episode release.
Despite the Stars show's lengthy hiatus between seasons, the third season debut does not reassure viewers of its world. The major strength and flaw of Do or Die is that it expects the audience to board the moving train again. However, it is untrue to suggest that the series is complacent. Although the Power Book 4 Season 2 finale was about 2 years ago, there isn't a comparable time jump on screen. If you haven't watched the finale again, you'll be a little confused at first because details about who is where and who is having issues with whom are revealed quickly. Having said that, there are plenty of memorable moments across the hour, and they start early. It's not Tommy Egan who gets the first jaw-dropping scene, it's his girlfriend Mireya Garcia, still portrayed with a ton of ferocity, also recognizable from her scene-stealing role as Anna Avalos on Chicago PD. Mireya begins Season 3 in a heated argument with her brother Miguel about Tommy, threatening to kill Miguel and then herself. It's a chilling start to the season to see her with a gun under her chin. And in true power fashion, that's just the first act of potential violence.